Lisa, let's start with the first half. That could have been the best half of basketball.
I mean, I don't think there's a question, right?
Yeah.
If you shoot 61% from the field, and what is that math? 83 plus 40 divided by 2. Okay, really good. I know how to do it, I just don't know what it is. Okay, really good. Yeah, there's no question it was the best half we had. We played our offensive. I don't know if it was our defense was dialed in enough to make allow our offense to flow freely, or if it was that we were playing so well offensively that it helped us defensively. But you have to. That was a huge key for us, was how we started with the energy we had. Because against the Princeton offense, if you get caught not playing hard, then try to play hard, they will just back cut you to death and split you to death, and backdoor you to death and back screen you to death. And Davis is the best there is at running that offense. They do a really good job of teaching it. They do a really good job of recruiting to it. They're my friends, but I don't enjoy playing them because it's so hard to defend, and they do it so well. So I think that our team really, both sides of the ball, really impressive. I don't think that we played out of our mind, but we showed what we're capable of. And we've shown that at different times so far this season, obviously not as well as this, but we had glimpses of that versus Stanford and versus Indiana, and at times versus Marquette, and different times in different ways versus Eastern. And so we're still working to put it all together. Obviously the third quarter wasn't the energy that we wanted. We had a hard time defending three in that quarter, but overall, I think a really good game for our team.
You scored 28 in the first quarter, but only 32 in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
What happened, do you think?
I just think that we allowed their defense we allowed their offense to affect us offensively. They were scoring baskets, and we weren't. We were letting that affect us. You got to just have a short memory. At halftime, they asked me about it, and we were joking about goldfish and this, that, and the other thing, and that you have to next play it. And all right, shoot, they got us on offense. On defense, we have to go down and run good offense. And they switched to zone, and we've seen maybe less than 10 total possessions in our prior games this year. We don't see a lot of zone, and we have a little bit of inexperience when it comes to running it. I think in years past, we wished teams would zone us. It's almost a guarantee we're going to make a three or a layup, and this team just hasn't seen that much. So I think that was effective. They have they're a streaky team, and if they get going from three, and they have a couple of presses, and they have a couple of defenses where they just are running and jumping and trying to trap you, they have ways of creating chaos when they are going on a run, and they do it pretty well. So I think that wasn't necessarily chaos, but we kind of took turns taking average shots in the zone at first. Then we started to get it figured out a little bit better, made a couple nice jumpers, were patient to the end of the shot clock, and made a couple threes. So.
Did that middle defender in the zone have any bearing on Whitty not getting as many touches in the second half, or what? Why was she unable to maybe get the first half, it was automatic.
I think it's just the zone in general. She was at the high post a lot, and then we don't necessarily know how to run zone offense. It gives us something to work on this week, because there's plenty of touches to be had around the basket versus a zone. But I think that we were just a little discombobulated. So I don't necessarily think it wasn't Norris specifically. I just think because she went against Norris against the man the whole time, right? I think it was just the fact that it was zone, and we didn't know how to get the ball there in the same ways.
Looking at, not just the points that Laura was able to put up, but getting 4 steals, aggressive on the rebounds, aggressive on the end of the floor. I know you mentioned a few weeks ago about how she could be Defensive Player of the Year conversation, and we saw a lot of that tonight. What did you see through your eyes? Yeah,
she did another good job. I think she's being pretty consistent. She's capable of all of it. She's just young. So we see her youth, and you got to focus at this time. There was a mismatch that we had talked about in the timeout. I think that sometimes as coaches, we have to kind of quiet some of the voices because their youth comes out in different ways. And for her, I think sometimes everybody's talking in the timeout. And so she's a young buck who's doing a really good job. The assignment was to pressure Norris to make the high post catch hard. The assignment was to pressure whoever you were guarding so that they couldn't find the back cuts and the back doors and the splits. And she executed that really well, I thought, most of the night.
And looking at Nash, especially down the stretch, that huge three she hit, free throws at the end. I mean, her spark and energy to help push away that UC Davis comeback even better.
Yeah, she's our most competitive player, right? She wants to compete with people. She gets fired up. Sometimes it works against her. We've seen that happen from time to time too. But whenever there's a matchup, she went head to head with the best guard every game we've played so far. And the ones that are competitive, they're competitive. Ryan Bennett's a good player who wants to go at you. And I think that they weren't on each other the whole time because we're doing a lot of switching. But Neshi rises to those kind of moments, and she loves them. The very first outing we had against another team last year when she got here was against Arizona State. And they had a kid who was kind of talking to Nesh, and she's not there anymore. It's a totally different group, so it's not anything towards the next game. But she competed, and she had like 17 points. And I think that she competed against Indiana, and she competed against Marquette. And so she really loves those kind of moments and to just give everything that she has. And she's playing like a senior. Like I told you, we're trying to get her steady. She's keeping working on that. But I think sometimes when her fire is what makes her really good. So to kind of ask her to be steady is maybe doing a disservice to her. So we just got to figure out how to manage it the best we can and not let her still have that same kind of competitive fire.
Does Z have like a sublux shoulder? What's going
on? She's working through that a little bit. She's had a little bit of shoulder pain in there. They're not exactly sure. So hopefully this week we'll get her shirt up. But yeah, she was limited today in a lot of different ways. We got as much as we could out of her. But yeah, she's experiencing something for the first time. So not quite sure on that, but it is bothering her a little bit.
What are the next 10 days of ready to get ready?
Finally we've had a gauntlet, and the way our games have been, all these Sunday games and like Thursday, Sunday, that's a hard schedule because you don't really get a day off in between, and it's kind of long weeks. So they have finals this week, so we're going to focus on that. It's really important for them to, we have a bunch of high achievers who want to do well in their classes, and we want that for them. So give them a little bit of time to study. We'll give them a couple extra days off, do some shooting, take some time to work on some of the areas that we need to be strong for just us, not necessarily specific to Arizona State or Missouri State or Riverside or, whoever we have coming up, but work on the Zags a little bit before we have, the next weekend to focus a little bit more on Arizona State. So they're going to take some time to study, rest, recover, and then get ready to go.
And they improved to 10-0 today. When you were scheduling earlier and, when they ended up, did you have a feeling that they could be this good this early?
I didn't. It's so unknown right now. You just never know. We're scheduling long before the coaches are established, long before the transfer portal happens. We know who they've committed as freshmen. We know who would be returning and who's graduating, but it's a crapshoot nowadays. Like, you have no idea who's going to be there. And so I didn't know what their roster was going to look like. I didn't know who was going to be their coach. We scheduled it thinking we needed a game. We needed a good home game and a home and home that we'd want to play. And, we've had, it's a regional-ish kind of game. So I know that once she was named coach, and obviously watching them a little bit kind of out of the side eye, she's done a great job everywhere she's been, and certainly doing a good job right now. So I have no idea what they do. I haven't seen anything. But I'm excited to dig into that later in the week.
Okay.
Thanks, Coach.